All right, continuing the theme of making do with what we've got for tools and material. What I'm working on here now uh, is a set of stairs to go with that platform that we built. Want to be able to move the stairs from one position on the platform to another if we want to back up to it and get stuff out of the trailer, put stuff in, and just give us a little bit more flexibility. So I didn't want to make it all as one unit, obviously. What we're working with is a bunch of aluminum scrap. Came off of a boat dock and some awnings that were taken apart. The stair treads we're using are the ones we cut up the other day as part of that boat dock gangway. And the square tubing is just some more scrap. This is a little different experience for me. I'm used to working with aluminum that's new and clean and in a shop environment. We generally don't do aluminum repairs out in the field. We'll do, mild steel, stainless steel, that kind of stuff, but not aluminum. And so since I'm out here away from the shop, don't have a TIG, don't have a spool gun, don't have a wire feeder on a MIG setup for aluminum out here, what I'm using is some aluminum welding rods, just stick electrodes. And what we're looking at is some old Napa brand aluminum electrodes, model 84-190, because I got them for free. And to give you an idea of how old they are, this box was $9.99. If you go down to your local farm store, you can get aluminum 4043 alloy welding rods, but you're going to pay probably $10 to $14 for 5 welding rods. So, making use of resources that were available. What I'm finding, because this stuff is so dirty, is that it's hard to weld and it's hard to control the heat range on this Ranger 8 welding machine because it's not as fine a setting. It's not like an inverter you would have in a shop. It's working, but it's ugly. The way we're trying to get around some of this, cleaning up the aluminum, and what I'm doing is just taking an abrasive flap wheel and running over it to clean it up. And the thing about aluminum is basically as soon as you clean it, it starts oxidizing again. So you need to work with it pretty quick. As far as the stair layout, this again is kind of on the fly. It's a different way of doing it for me. I'm used to doing it either on a shop floor or on a big steel table where you lay everything out. You put your tabs on the table to provide you a jig, and you just start putting pieces in there and welding it up. Stairs are generally pretty easy. It's rise over run, and how, you want a 7-inch step from one tread to the other generally, and you want a tread that's about 10 inches. These are going to be 12 because that's the material I'm working. So I've got 35 inches in elevation. Divide that by 7, you're talking about 5 stair treads. And if you're running 12-inch stair treads with no overhang, then you're talking about 60 inches of horizontal run. So you need to set your stringer angle to cover that distance. So what I'm using as my table is a pallet, because I've got some laying here, and a spool that the electric company left when they came out here and ran our electricity. And it just gives me a place to clamp stuff down, and is generally putting things coplanar. It's going on the ground over here. I may need to put some adjustable feet on it. I don't think so, but it's just giving me a place to elevate it and start getting stuff worked out. Last night I went ahead and started tacking this together just to see how this rod was going to work before I started wasting anybody's time with YouTube videos. One of the issues I'm having with this rod is to get the filler metal to flow, my amperage has got to be up a little bit higher than it needs to be with this thin wall aluminum tubing. And with a TIG setup, you can increase your amperage to get it to start and then back off on it if you're using a pedal or a slider, even if you're using a scratch start. And with this, it's kind of where it is. So you're going to see me doing some dabbing and stuff to try to keep from burning holes and filling it up. So this is one of those situations where it's definitely going to end up being grinded and painted to make it look somewhat decent. We're not going to paint it, but you know what I mean. On this stuff is worse than dang 7018 for restriking an arc. I mean, it makes a glassy like plastic over the end of this rod. It's kind of hard to get it to restart once you burned it a little bit. Definitely is not TIG. Trying to control the heat because this stuff is so dirty and it's so thin and there's big corrosion on it, so it's thinned it out even more. You don't have anywhere near as much control over the arc as you do with a TIG, so trying to get this thing to weld together without burning a hole in it is kind of frustrating. Heat into it. The heat affected zone is getting so big that it's just melting out. So I'm gonna have to let that cool off some. In order to have a fighting chance with this, if you're going to try it and you're using old material, even if you're using new material, it's worth your time to go buy a couple of new flat discs that don't have any kind of carbon steel impregnated in them, because it'll help you get better welds. this is ugly as can be, but by using a clean disc, it's helping me get it as clean as I possibly can to give it the best chance of sticking. Welding overhead clearly is not an option with this. The dang electrode melts so fast and it doesn't set up fast enough that it won't stay in the overhead position. Since we should have a 7-inch rise for each step, what I've done, we've got a 1-inch tube and we've got a 1-inch thick stair tread plus about 1/8 of an inch. I'm not going to get too concerned about the 1/8 of an inch. So what I did is I came in, took my speed square, set it on here, and marked it at 5 inches going across here. That should give us a top tread surface of 7 inches off the ground. So I'm going to take some clamps, put this in, and get this squared up, and then that'll allow me to figure out the run for the next section of square tube that's going to support the back of the steps. Like all my other videos, if y'all are enjoying our content and you like what we're doing, please hit the like button and subscribe and share with your friends. And if you have any questions about what we're doing or just want to converse a little bit, you know, put a comment down below. I've worked pretty hard at answering the comments on these videos, and I know that people use their free time and they choose how to spend it, and if you're spending it watching our videos, I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. I'm trying to figure out the best use of material to get me a stiff enough structure that I can run up and down these stairs and carry heavy stuff in and out of that trailer. And we're going to put a handrail that can be taken on and off and move from side to side. So there's going to be a vertical socket right here. But I'm wondering if I need to put a piece to support the nose of each of these steps as we go up, because that's going to be 4 inches of weld at the most on each side supporting these steps. And I don't have enough material, I do not believe, to run a vertical piece from bottom to top on each step. I think the most economical use of material will be what I'm doing here, doing a double bar on each side and then just support the nose, because I'm talking about a, you know, a 5-inch piece for each one. thread's got a twist in it. Could have been run over and smashed at the junkyard. Who knows? Flip this thing upside down in an effort to get a little bit more flat welds in these corners to tie the threads to the stringers, since I'm having such a problem with this rod running out of position. I'm going to try this and see if it'll work. All I do is give it a shot. On this stuff is like concrete. When I get the amperage up enough to burn into this 8-inch aluminum, it starts blowing holes in that thin wall tubing. One of the tricks you can use is to preheat this heavier stuff, get the temperature up to about 400 degrees, and weld it in, but I don't know, it's too much dang crap and junk. I guess just put it together best you can. should hook right on there. Try out your stairs, Mama. So you like it better than the ladder?
Wait, let me try it. Seems a little more sturdy. Yay! That's pretty awesome.
So, the junk pile. Okay, some things that we learned. I did this the hard way on purpose because I wanted to know if I could get aluminum welding rod using my engine-driven welding machine and make aluminum repairs on dirty stuff out in the field somewhere if I need to. It will work, but it's ugly. It is absolutely not like a TIG weld or a MIG weld. But that right there, made out of a junk pile, actually worked. So if you need to do some aluminum repair out in the middle of nowhere with no TIG, no MIG, this stuff will work for you. Thanks for hanging out. Y'all have a good evening.